An EF0 tornado touched down in Port St. Lucie, Florida, on the evening of Sunday, August 23, 2026, packing peak winds between 65 and 75 miles per hour and leaving a continuous 2.1-mile path of localized property damage. The National Weather Service, NWS, in Melbourne, confirmed that the weak atmospheric rotation originated as a brief landspout and waterspout over the St. Lucie River before moving inland into residential neighborhoods. While the event triggered several terrifying emergency broadcast alerts across St. Lucie and Martin counties, public safety officials reported 0 fatalities and no injuries. Local emergency management personnel and NWS meteorologists spent Monday conducting structural assessments throughout the hardest-hit subdivisions, primarily focusing on the Southbend and Bay St. Lucie communities. A comprehensive analysis of the storm's trajectory, atmospheric origins, neighborhood impact, and municipal response reveals the ongoing vulnerability of East Central Florida's coastal communities to sudden, low-end tornadic outbreaks. The tornadic event began developing late Sunday afternoon as strong, moisture-laden convective thunderstorms pushed across the Treasure Coast. Atmospheric conditions over St. Lucie County featured high localized humidity, rapid surface-level air convergence, and minor vertical wind shear, ideal parameters for generating landspout-type atmospheric circulations. Unlike classic supercell tornadoes that mature from the cloud level downward, landspouts develop from the ground up, utilizing strong thermal updrafts to stretch localized boundary layer rotation into a visible funnel. According to Will Ulrich, the warning coordination meteorologist for the NWS Melbourne office, the circulation formally touched down at 6:10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The initial coordinates were logged near Southeast Kitchen Cove Lane and Southeast Morningside Boulevard. The microvortex initially presented as a shallow, surface-based spin-up, making it difficult for regional Doppler radar systems to detect an explicit high-altitude hook echo signature. As the vortex intensified, it carved a path toward Jessica Clinton Park and crossed into the open waters of the St. Lucie River. For roughly 5 to 7 minutes, the system functioned as a high-velocity waterspout, drawing columns of river water into its swirling central core. Eyewitnesses along the riverbanks captured extensive video footage of the aquatic column before the storm crossed back onto land. The system re-entered landmass through the Bay St. Lucie community at approximately 6:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, where meteorologists believe it achieved its maximum path width of 200 yards and its highest velocity vectors. The localized twister then tracked northwest into the Southbend area before completely dissipating at 6:25 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time near Southeast Quay Street and Southeast Cody Place. The total lifespan of the landspout spanned 15 minutes. A field damage assessment executed by St. Lucie County Emergency Management indicated that between 20 and 30 single-family residences sustained minor structural impact. The damage path was characterized by meteorologists as discontinuous, meaning the weak funnel bounced or lifted momentarily over structural roofs rather than maintaining grinding ground contact. Property owners in the Southbend sector faced significant residential cleanup on Monday morning. Common issues included aluminum pool enclosures completely sheared from their concrete anchor points, shattered window panes due to low-mass airborne projectiles, and detached backyard utility sheds. Local utility providers, including Florida Power and Light, FPL, reported scattered power outages across the southern corridors of Port St. Lucie. High-velocity winds and flying yard debris compromised localized transformer connections and knocked down smaller distribution lines. However, automated grid switching mechanisms prevented widespread regional blackouts, and power was restored to most affected residents within 12 hours of the event. For residents living along Southeast Wake Road, Navy Avenue, and West Snow Road, the suddenness of the landspout created immense panic. Allison Rogers, a Port St. Lucie resident whose property lost its boundary fence and backyard shed, described a distinct acoustic change as the vortex approached her house. It was just this massive swoosh sound, totally different from a standard thunderstorm, Rogers reported to local journalists. You could see the twister moving right down the street, throwing metal debris into the air. I stood frozen before realizing I needed to step away from the windows. Another local resident, Aron Christiansen, recounted his frantic effort to protect his pets. I looked out my window toward the dark cloud layer and noticed a swirling white mass. At first, I honestly thought it was a large flock of birds, but it was spinning debris, Christiansen said. I immediately scrambled to hustle my dogs into the interior bedroom. Within 10 seconds, the core went right through the property line. It left a tremendous mess in the pool, but we are just incredibly thankful nobody was hurt. The emotional toll on the community was magnified by historical memories of previous weather events. St. Lucie County was heavily devastated by an unprecedented deadly EF3 and EF2 tornado outbreak in October 2024 during the approach of Hurricane Milton, which caused multiple fatalities in the Spanish Lakes Country Club community. Local authorities noted that while Sunday's EF0 event was a completely independent, non-tropical low-end landspout, the sounding of municipal sirens and cell phone alerts triggered widespread anxiety across older demographics. The emergency alerting process worked efficiently, though the organic ground-up development of the landspout limited total lead time. The National Weather Service in Melbourne finalized a radar-indicated tornado warning at roughly 6:12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, after localized visual spotters confirmed a funnel cloud lowering near the St. Lucie River. Wireless emergency alerts, WEA, were broadcast directly to mobile devices operating within the targeted polygon. Some residents noted minor discrepancies in warning arrivals, with husbands or neighbors receiving distinct auditory pings minutes before adjacent devices responded. Emergency management tech teams attribute these minor variations to cellular tower handoffs and individual carrier propagation speeds, rather than system-wide software failures. Following the storm's dissipation, municipal public works crews deployed heavy machinery to clear fallen oak limbs, palm fronds, and scattered building materials from Southbend Boulevard and peripheral residential streets. Port St. Lucie code enforcement officers roamed neighborhoods on Monday to assist homeowners in identifying safe, licensed contractors for structural roof patches, cautioning residents against fraudulent, unlicensed, out-of-state storm chaser repair operations. Climatological records compiled by the Southeast Regional Climate Center highlight that August represents the absolute annual peak for tornadic and waterspout development within St. Lucie County, accounting for roughly 24.5% of all historical occurrences. Most events materialize between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., driven by intense solar heating and the collision of east and west coast sea breeze fronts across the Florida peninsula. While low-end EF0 landspouts rarely generate the catastrophic structural damage associated with Midwestern supercells, their high-velocity 75 miles per hour wind bands are fully capable of turning unsecured lawn items into dangerous missiles. Emergency management officials advise all Treasure Coast residents to maintain active severe weather notifications on their smartphones and to establish a designated household interior shelter space, such as a windowless bathroom or central hallway, to utilize during sudden coastal storm spin-ups. A severe summer thunderstorm lashed Orlando over the weekend, packing 60 miles per hour wind gusts that upended outdoor venues, drenched crowds at Walt Disney World Resort, and triggered sudden flash floods. The storm struck late Saturday afternoon, instantly shattering a period of bright sunshine and clear skies. The sudden collision of sea breeze boundaries triggered a rapid downpour that dropped inches of rain in a matter of minutes. While the extreme heat dome that pushed heat indices above 112 degrees last week has officially broken, this severe weather marks a volatile transition back into Central Florida's traditional rainy season. Local authorities urge residents to remain vigilant as a surge of deep tropical moisture prepares to ramp up rain chances across Orange and Osceola counties later this week. The National Weather Service issued urgent severe thunderstorm warnings for south central Orange County and northern Osceola County after Doppler radar tracked an intense convective cell moving southwest at 10 miles per hour. The system was centered directly over key transit and tourist hubs, including the Orlando International Airport, Buena Ventura Lakes, Narcoossee, and East Lake Toho. Meteorologists confirmed that the storm's core produced localized wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, which are capable of inflicting real structural damage to residential roofs, home siding, and mature tree canopies. The rapid development of the system caught thousands of commuters, locals, and vacationers completely off guard. The storm made its most dramatic impact across Orlando's major entertainment corridors. At Walt Disney World Resort, visitors waiting in outdoor queues were suddenly battered by torrential rain and near gale force winds. At Epcot, the tranquil summer atmosphere turned to panic within seconds. Eyewitnesses documented intense wind tunnel effects directly beneath the iconic spaceship Earth sphere, where hundreds of guests attempted to crowd together for shelter. Social media footage revealed heavy downpours moving horizontally through the park corridors. The sheer force of the wind tore unanchored umbrellas out of patio tables and sent personal belongings scattering across the walkways. Only 5 minutes ago, it was bright, clear, and sunny, stated eyewitness Joseph Nosef in a widely circulated video report. This weather is insane. I even witnessed an empty stroller take flight before hitting the pavement. Similar scenes played out across local resorts, where patio furniture and heavy lounge chairs were swept up by the wind and tossed directly into hotel swimming pools. The suddenness of the deluge resulted in immediate driving hazards along major thoroughfares, including the Interstate 4, I-4 corridor, State Road 417, and the Beach Line Expressway. Flash flooding pooled on low-lying road shoulders, forcing drivers to slow down to a crawl due to near-zero visibility from the heavy sheet of rain. The aviation sector felt the impact as well. While the sky over Orlando International Airport cleared later in the evening, ground stops and temporary baggage handling pauses occurred during the height of the lightning activity to protect tarmac crew members. Emergency dispatchers in Orange County fielded multiple reports of downed power lines and fallen tree branches blocking suburban neighborhood streets. While some localized utility disruptions were reported, power crews worked through the night to restore electricity to affected households.
There's somebody's roof.